Hey, okay, so today is September 11th, and it is the 12th year anniversary since it originally happened. My screen's really dark. Stop being so dark. I mean, I guess it's kind of fitting for the video, but there we go. Anyway, so I thought what I would do is I would tell my story of what I remember from September 11th because if I was in another country, I'd be curious to know what it was like for people that lived through it, or if I was born after September 11th, I'd be curious to know what it was like. If I just didn't remember it, whatever. I would be interested in knowing people's stories. So mine really is not amazing at all. I didn't directly know anyone involved with September 11th. Although apparently years later I discovered I had some distant relatives that actually saw it happen. They worked a few blocks away from the World Trade Center. So I think they may have actually been no, they weren't in New Jersey. They were in New York, but they saw it happen. So that's my closest tie to September 11th. But my memory of it is still very clear, believe it or not. There's just certain memories that I have that I will always have. And I read somewhere that September 11th really defined my generation, which I think for some of us is very true. I've met people my age who don't remember it for different reasons. A lot of them, their parents didn't really let them see what happened because they thought it'd be too violent, too scary. But my mom, thankfully, was not like that. And once we found out, she let us watch it as much as we wanted to. So basically, it was Tuesday morning, and it was, I don't know exactly what time, but my brother and I were homeschooled, so we were at home and we were studying the states on a little pencil box that we had that had a map of the United States on it. So we were kind of studying the states using that, and she came into the room and she said, "Our pastor's wife has some really bad news." And I don't know why, but for some reason the worst thing I could think of was, oh, she's getting a divorce? I mean, and there's absolutely no reason for me to think that. Like, they have a great marriage. So that was completely unfounded, but I was 10, and for some reason that was the worst thing I could think of. So Mom said we have to turn on the news, something bad has happened, and I don't remember what she said after that, but I know that we turned on the news, and I'm pretty sure both towers had been hit by the time we turned on the news, or if not, then at least one definitely had been, obviously. But I'm sure both had, but I don't think that the plane that went down in Pennsylvania or the one that hit the Pentagon, I honestly don't think either of those had hit yet. Because I remember just feeling like the bad stuff just kept on happening. It's like, okay, the World Trade Center, which I didn't even know about beforehand because I'm from Michigan and I'm stupid. No, but I didn't know about the Twin Towers. These towers that tons of people work in, they've just been hit by planes, and now there's this other plane that tried to hit the Pentagon, which is like the center of our political planning, and then this other plane goes down in Pennsylvania, and it was aimed for the White House, they're saying. It was just like, could the world just stop ending, please? I was terrified. But I was also transfixed by the TV because we didn't turn it off, and there was no commercials. Can you imagine? It's like the worst day in American history, it seems like, and there's absolutely no commercials as well because it was so important. They didn't want to cut away in case something extremely important happened. And I think I really respect that, but it also just made it so unbearable, really. But I still watched it just because I knew that it was history unfolding. And eventually it was just became so much that I just left and I went to my room and I was like crying and praying. And I was like, God, please don't let us die. I'm so scared. Please just, let it stop. And I was looking out at the sky waiting for some plane to come through and kill us. I knew that even though I was only 10, I knew that we were very much in danger and that we were helpless because we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how to defend ourselves as a nation because it's completely unexpected. At least I thought it was. I've heard other things since, and there's been a lot of conspiracies that think our government was heavily involved in creating 9/11. But in that moment, at least, I just felt that America was completely caught off guard and helpless, and people were killing us and killing tons of innocent people and destroying, like I don't know how to describe it, just destroying things that we had built that we were so proud of just because they could, and killing as many people in the process as they could. It was just terrifying. And, it's just like when my dad came home from work, it was just so great to see him come home, even though he works in Michigan and there was no direct threat to Michigan. You don't know that. You don't know what the enemy is planning at that point in time. So when he came home safe, it was just like a huge blessing. And just, we were emotionally spent by the end of the day when he came home because it had just been on and on and on. My mom didn't turn it off, which I'm glad she didn't. So that was just exhausting. We couldn't believe it. And I don't know if it was that evening or the next day, but one of the most beautiful things I ever saw came on where they showed a shot of the New York skyline after the towers had collapsed. And it was smoky and just completely desolate looking. But they had some black singer, I don't know who it was, but this guy, this beautiful voice, black singer, singing Amazing Grace as they just showed this shot of the New York skyline. And it was so devastating but so beautiful at the same time, and I haven't been able to find that clip since, but it was really quite amazing, and I won't forget that ever. And another thing I won't forget is on September 11th, and even the days afterward, but especially September 11th when there was no commercial breaks, they were showing a lot of shots of people coming out of the buildings just covered in soot, and they kept on replaying the same things over, obviously, but this guy, they kept on playing this clip of this guy just like gagging on stuff that he had inhaled and just like spitting it out. They played it over and over, and it was just like, please stop playing this. It's just gut-wrenching to see these poor people, just everyone in shock and crying and bleeding and wandering aimlessly and not knowing what was going on, and firefighters running in and people running out, and just, it was crazy. So, in the days that followed, obviously commercials started coming back on, more regularly, and they were still talking about it, but it wasn't quite with the same fervor as 9/11. But the realization of what happened did not leave for several days, and people have talked about this before. America really did feel united, which I have never felt before, and I've never felt since. I miss that sense because we were united around the fact that we were so sad about the pain that we've been caused, and we were so angry at whoever did it, and we wanted justice, but the biggest thing we wanted was just healing and love and peace for our own people, because our own people were hurting so much. And like most of America would agree, we all agreed on that, and it was like the only time that I ever remember just kind of going out and about and knowing that basically anyone I passed by probably would be thinking the exact same thing as me. It was amazing. It was crazy and amazing and beautiful and wonderful, and I wish we could experience that again without experiencing the torment that we went through on September 11th. And on September 12th in the evening, my family actually went outside in our front lawn and held a candle because my mom had read somewhere that people all over the U.S. would be doing it and you could see it from space. I'm not sure that was actually true, but we did it anyway. And you'd start in the years following, in 2002, 3, 4, you'd see murals going up of flags saying "In God We Trust" and "Never Forget," and very patriotic things that you didn't see before. All of a sudden, flags were just everywhere. Even years afterward. And my family actually did go to New York City in 2003, August 2003, and it was still a hole in the ground. Ground zero, it was cleaner than obviously when the towers originally fell, but it was still a hole in the ground. And actually, I got to see a part of history that I took a picture of. There is this cross, no pun intended, but this cross beam that was actually in the shape of a cross, and they had left it there for people to see, and since it's been removed and it's somewhere else on display, but I actually got to see it where it was, basically, which was really amazing. And there was this huge wall, like this blue tarp wall of some sort that you could write notes on, notes of encouragement and love to the people that had suffered from 9/11, and I wanted to find a space to write something because it had so deeply impacted me, and I couldn't find a space to write anything. Like, that's so many people wrote notes on it. It was just amazing. So since then, it's become less and less of a focus, and less people really talk about it or think about it. You don't see nearly as much patriotism. as you did then, but it definitely molded me. I think there's psychologists that would say 9/11 molded my generation, and I think in a way it did, especially for those of us that remember it so clearly. And I will never forget it, and I wish it had never happened. However, I saw a lot of beauty that I don't think anyone else will ever see again. In like I remember seeing Great Britain there, or some country, they were playing bagpipes. I think they were playing Amazing Grace or our national anthem. Just countries all over the world rallied to our support immediately and just showed us the whatever love and kindness they could, and it was just an incredible moment in history, despite all the agony, the pain, and I'm so sad for everyone that lost someone. I cannot imagine. But I'm grateful to have these memories, and I'm grateful that there is something that kind of will always be with me, even if it was awful. I won't forget it. And for everyone who is fighting for America, fighting for the values that we were founded upon, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know there's a lot of arguments about whether we should be doing this or should be doing that, whether we should be in this country or not in that country, whether we should have bombed this, not bombed that, who should be president, who should, America's not united. America is not united. But for those few moments we were, and for that I'm extremely grateful. And I hope that if anyone else has these memories also, they will cherish the good memories and just be with people, in spirit, be with the people that have a lot of bad memories from it. But I don't know how to wrap this video up, I'm sorry, but that was my story. That's my memories of it. So yeah, well, be safe, keep on pressing on, and I hope I'll see you later. Okay, bye.